Hello, this is Angela Anderson. Thanks for joining me today. In this video, I'm going to be showing you how to paint a pair of dandelions. We're going to be using a little bit warmer color palette than my example painting here shows. I've got my husband, Mark, with me.
Hey there, everybody.
He's going to be manning chat for us, and I'll be showing you step by step how to do this all the way through from drawing to finish. So let's get started. Okay, so this is the example. I said painting, but it's really a photograph that I found, and didn't really like the colors, so I found another photograph that had kind of warmer color palette, and I really liked all this kind of weird, like soft focus things going on in the background. So we're going to put this behind our dandelions. Let's set those aside real quick, and I'm using a 9x12 inch MDF gesso board. It's pre-painted, pre-gessoed, so it's got a little bit of texture. You can use a canvas of any size, really, that you want. And the first thing I'm going to do is just
go over what paints we have.
Yes, go over the paints really quick. Thank you. Good thinking, hun.
Hey, that's what I'm here for.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to spray them too while I'm at it. Give them a little spritz. There, we've got titanium white, unbleached titanium, quinacridone magenta, cadmium red medium, cadmium red light, cadmium orange, cadmium yellow medium, yellow oxide, phthalo green yellow shade, phthalo blue green shade, dioxazine purple, burnt umber, and burnt sienna. And really, you can use whatever colors you have. You don't have to have these exact ones, and you don't have to have all of these. Really, you can pretty much mix this red with these two reds and this orange with these two colors, or get close enough. So I'm just putting them out so that we can kind of move quickly when we're doing this background, because we're going to be doing a lot of blending wet on wet in this one. So we want to move quickly. And if you've got it, you can put out a little bit of some acrylic glazing liquid from Golden. It's the, this one has some extender in it as well, so it kind of allows a little bit more blending time. Normal glazing liquids don't. So if you're not using the Golden, then I would just use water, or even add a little of extender if you need to, feel like you need to, or flow improver or something like that. All right, so I'm going to try and decide what brush I want to start with. I guess I'll start with the big brush, and we'll move to the smaller brush for some of the details. So let's start up in this upper corner, and we'll just work our way down. So I'm going to start with this yellow, grab a little bit of the white, and you notice I'm pulling it from the side of my paint thing. I'm not dipping into the middle of the puddle. That allows me to kind of control how much is on my brush, and doesn't pollute the entire puddle of paint before, I've used it. So I'm going to just kind of slap this color on in a couple places. Grab a little bit of white, streak it through. Grab a little bit of this yellow oxide too. Add some of that. And really at this point, we're not going to worry too much about how it looks. So just kind of be free with it. Let it happen organically. But I'm going to work from one color to the next on my palette. So I'm going to grab my orange now and add a little bit of that. And then maybe a little bit of this cadmium red light. Maybe add some white to it. Just doing soft touches and letting those brush strokes happen. We're just going to do a really fun kind of abstract background here. Grabbing some of that red. Add a little bit more of the red down here, closer to the bottom. I love these kind of backgrounds, especially for beginner painters, because you really can't mess them up. You can kind of just have fun, let your aggressions for the week come out on the canvas. If you had a stressful week like I have, you can let that happen right there on the canvas. Slap that paint on there. Show it who's boss. No, it's been a good week.
Oh, there's some side cam there for you.
Ooh, there we go.
Yeah, you can see the slappity slap back and forth. So I want to say, hey, welcome to the channel. Thank you for joining us today. Do you want to say anything?
Yes, no.
Oh.
You were doing such a good job.
Oh, okay.
I was just thinking, I was listening to you. You're always good to do that. I'm such like
you're going for the paint.
Task-oriented.
I'm painting. Here I go.
I forget to say hi. Hey, welcome. So glad that you guys have joined us. I was actually kind of peeping in and watching chat a little bit before the show. I didn't type anything because I didn't have my keyboard with me, but handy. But I had it with me, but it's not. Anyhow, I was just thinking how it was just neat to see how the folks in chat were greeting each other, and just like friends, it was just neat. I just thought we have some pretty amazing people.
Yeah, we had all the unusual suspects there chatting before the video started.
Yeah.
Coming in, they all saying hi.
I love it.
It's like they're all next door neighbors, but they're all over the world.
Exactly. That's what it's just neat.
Yep.
Art's bringing people together.
Oh. We should have had a moment of silence there. Do that.
No moment of silence.
Darn it, we missed it.
Just do a collective sigh. Okay, I'm going to make a really bright like lime green here with my cadmium yellow and this phthalo green. And I really had very little paint left on my brush. I made sure that I brushed it all off on my canvas, so I didn't want to mix it with the reds because that would make brown. We don't. we might have a little bit of brown in here, but we don't want to make a muddy color here. We want something really bright and vivid. So just, if you're worried about it, you can clean your brush out before you do this step and move into some of the cooler colors. Figured it's cold enough. We need some warm. We've got cyclone something or cyclone.
Bomb cyclone.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah,
happening up in the. We got out of New York City just in time.
Yeah. Yes, we did. It was cold and cold.
Yeah.
And windy, but no snow.
Yeah. Oh goodness. So I feel for you. Hope everybody's staying safe and healthy and warm. That's living up there. So we're going to have a warm palette for you today. Warm you up. All right, so I made a teal with pretty much equal parts of phthalo blue, phthalo green, and I'm adding a little bit of this unbleached titanium to it. It'll kind of give me a soft teal color, and I'm going to use that down here. I add a little bit more white. And if it doesn't blend, that's okay. We can kind of pull it up. At this point, we're kind of doing grasses down here at the bottom, so we can kind of sort of make these, turn my brush sideways a little bit and kind of make these semi-grass strokes happen. Don't have to be, we're keeping this all kind of soft focus so that we don't want to get too detailed with this and go, all the way into doing little blades of grass and stuff. Unless you want to, you can, but on this one, it's all... the only thing that's in focus is our subject matter. Everything else is all blurry and everything. So we're just going to kind of try to keep that feeling in this background. So just going to keep everything kind of soft and blendy. And if you get a little bit too much paint in some place where you don't want it, we can go back in and fix it later. So don't stress out too much at this point. Just kind of keep on moving. Press that down, and I really love this teal against the warm. There was just a tiny bit of it in my photograph down in here, and I just thought I'd bring out a little bit more because I really liked that. Sorry, I think I just touched the mic with my foam thing.
It wasn't too loud.
Good.
Mona will be okay.
Mona's gonna be okay. All right.
She said she's got headphones on, so no weird noises.
Okay.
So
okay.
I'm going to go get some firecrackers so we can light them off.
No.
No? Okay.
All right. Grab some purple here. And I'm mixing it with the teal, so it's going to make kind of a softer softer blended color. We'll blend a little bit of that into our wet paint down here. Add a little bit of that purple in a couple places. Really, you could do this with any color palette you wanted. If you wanted to use, warmer colors up here, or even just greens or blues, like it's a sky showing, whatever. I think just be aware of how your colors are going to mix. I think that's the most important thing when you're doing something like this, is just knowing, okay, so this purple, I don't want to mix it with the yellow because it'll turn it, unless I want a brown or like a muted purple. If I want to keep it a richer color, a more saturated color, then I want to mix it with other colors that are closer to it on the color wheel. So we've gone all the way around the color wheel, and we're back to purple being next to the Quinacridone Magenta. So I'm going to use Quinacridone Magenta right here up against this purple, but first I'm cleaning out all of that green that was in my brush. Hope that makes sense. Trying to get it clean at least.
So what if you don't have paints? How would you do this? Mustard, ketchup,
berries. I
berries.
think that the original cave people used berries, and
we
things
might
stained it. Actually did t-shirts. You remember that time when I took leaves and crushed them and made t-shirt stains out of it? Yeah, we made t-shirts out of it. So yeah, where there's a will, there's a way.
That's right. Where there's no money, there's a way.
That's right. I started painting so that I had something to put up on our walls without having to pay for it. Although, then art supplies are just as expensive. Probably would have been cheaper in the long run to go out and buy something than buy all the art supplies I ended up with. That's all right. It's turned into a job, so it all comes good in the end. All right, so picking up, I don't even know what I did there. I think I picked up some, I honestly don't. I think I picked up that color. You'll have to go back and look. I didn't pay attention. Oh no, I picked up a little bit of the burnt sienna and mixed it with that Quinacridone Magenta. And then now I'm picking up this yellow. And so we're going to do a little bit of this yellow up here. I'm just kind of blend these colors together where they meet up here. It's going to be, it's looking kind of like a hodgepodge right now. That's all right. We'll get a...
I always wondered what a hodgepodge looked like.
This is it right
That's
here.
what it is, huh? Okay.
AKA a hot mess.
Hot mess.
We're working.
A finished painting by Mark?
This would be your... I forgot to use my blending.
Oh, man.
Doesn't look good. All right, so I'm going to grab some unbleached titanium here. And I've got the glazing liquid on my brush. And I'm just going to kind of create some soft, sort of wispy overlapping layer with some of that. Anywhere where you feel like the color's a little bit too in your face, we can come in with this color, and this will tone it down. Since there's some glazing liquid in it, it'll make it more transparent, so you'll still be able to see the colors underneath, but we're just going to be softening them up a little bit. And don't be afraid of letting your brush strokes show. That's kind of the charm of this kind of painting, is we're going to let it be kind of impressionistic. All right, see how just doing that over here has kind of already softened it up a little bit. It's looking a little bit better. And I want a color that's a little bit more vivid right in here, so I'm going to grab some Quinacridone Magenta and use a little bit of that glazing liquid with it. And put in a little bit of, and this is still a little bit wet underneath, so we may do better to let it dry a little bit. Just have to see. If you don't let your paint, if you kind of mess with them too much while they're drying, they'll start to lift off your canvas. They'll stick to your brush instead of the canvas. So it's starting to kind of do that. If I was to keep brushing over and over again in one spot, I would pull up all of that paint that's under there. So just be careful about that. That's one of the things that can happen. All right, but I like that. Getting little pops of sort of colors happening. Let's grab some of this green, or I might have to make some more. That bright green. Dab it on in a couple places. And this kind of painting can be a little bit scary too. I mean, I get it because it's a little bit less structured. So, it's not like do this exactly the way I'm doing it. So don't expect yours to look like mine. That's one thing that I would say going into this kind of painting. Just embrace the fact that it's going to be uniquely yours. It's going to have your own kind of twist on it. It's going to look different than mine. If I did this painting 2 or 3 times, every single one of them would look a little bit different, because every time, I might have a little bit more paint on my brush, and sometimes a little bit less in other places. We all have kind of, I think Ginger Cook was the one that likened painting to handwriting. We all have different handwriting styles, and we all, in the same way, have different painting styles. We all have kind of a naturally different ways of holding the brush, working with the brush, and painting. So my goal is to help you kind of get over some of the difficulties, show you some of the different ways that I've learned to kind of push through and work through a painting to get it to where you like it, because that can be difficult, but not to kind of make you paint exactly the way I do, necessarily. I want you to be able to kind of discover your own style. I love it when people post things and they've kind of twisted, changed it up, made it their own in some ways. So definitely all for that. And don't feel like you're doing something wrong if yours doesn't look like mine. That's not the case.
Good.
You're relieved?
Yeah.
Okay. I hope you're following me here. I'm just kind of picking through the yellows. I mixed a little bit of yellow with the white there to kind of add some little random brush strokes down here. I'm going to kind of do some little grass-like blades down in here low over the top of some of this that we've already done, and kind of let these other darker colors peek through over the top. So, sorry, I got my bandwagon. I'll get off my...
Well, no, actually, what you said is very similar to what Chef John says.
Really?
That channel that I watch, because he's a chef and he's
using
teaching.
white up here. Sorry. Go ahead.
He's showing recipes on how to cook, but he makes a point to say, hey, you can add your own spices, you can do your own thing. That's just you cooking. Mm-hmm. He's teaching you the techniques and he's teaching you the general process.
Right.
But in the end, you don't have to do it exactly like him for it to come out perfect for you.
It's not. Yeah, there's no right or wrong way of doing this. You go into art gallery and there's a million different styles in there, and they're all valid and beautiful in their own ways. So, yeah. Yeah, exactly. Never thought about it with cooking, but you're right. That makes sense. Mark's a cooking show geek. He loves to watch.
Hey, I'll plug up over there on Food Wishes.
Yep. Foodwishes.com.
Yep, Foodwishes.
He's hilarious.
On YouTube, so give him a look. Check out. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, if you like cooking, then he's... And I'm not usually into those kind of shows. It's not my favorite thing to do. I can cook, I just don't prefer it. Like, it's not my, yes, I get to cook today.
It's like I can run, but
right.
I don't prefer to always do it.
Choose to do it for fun. Yeah. Mark's like, hey, we've done this recipe a million times, and it's always turned out well, but let's try something new. I'm always kind of dumbfounded by that. I mean, I get it, I guess. You know, it's just like I'm like, I know how to do it right. Why do we need to tempt fate and try to mess it up?
Because it's fun.
Brined pork chops that one time was terrible.
No, it was good. I just had too much salt. Other than that, they were very good.
All right, I'm going to need to talk about what I'm
painting. Back to painting.
Yeah. I mixed Dioxazine Purple and Quinacridone Magenta there, and then I'm kind of adding some of just making this kind of violet color, getting some dark and light. You want this kind of value switches or it'll kind of look flat. So we're just kind of working in some darker areas here. And don't be afraid when they first go on, they're going to look really like, whoa, I did something wrong. Just go with it, let it happen, and we can always blend out around the edges, soften it up, make it look a little bit, you know, more part of the painting, but we need these dark areas in here to brighten up. I really like it just like this. I don't really want to put anything on the top of it.
All right, thanks for joining us today.
I know. Like, the more I do on this, I'm like, oh, this is really pretty.
We may not have
need to do another painting of just something like this, huh? Just, you can tell I'm kind of ready for some spring-like weather. And winter's just started. We haven't even really gotten any snow here yet. It'll happen. So using the edge of my brush and just creating these lines. Just kind of pressing my brush flat so that I get a good solid, like very thin edge on my brush. And then I can kind of do these blades of grass-like things on here.
Okay, so
let's grab a little bit of this Unbleached Titanium here, and I'm going to go around these and soften up the edges so that they kind of where it touches other things, it's going to be blended in. Go for it. What?
I'll get the usual question about how difficult is this?
I think this one's going to be pretty easy. I'm going to keep it as easy as I can. I mean, so far it's not hard at all. It's just little dabs, you know, little dots and dabs. The hardest part is the color mixing, but I really think that it's a really good exercise in color mixing, you know, because you're, as long as you're keeping, like I said, if you're mixing colors, anytime you can mix really any of these with white and Unbleached Titanium to change the value from the darker to lighter. But when you're mixing, you know, just make sure that you're mixing the colors that you know will mix well together. If that makes sense. And I'm really pretty much sticking to the colors that are next to the next one on the color wheel. So that way we know they're going to blend and mix, you know, make a nice color, and you won't have to worry about it. I'm not mixing any strange colors today. It's all pretty basic stuff. Yeah, I kind of created some little starbursts here with the side of my brush too, with the white while Mark was talking earlier, or we were talking. I don't know. Somebody was talking.
Well, there's only two of us here, so
we're all chatty today.
We are.
I get a lot of complaints when we get chatty, so I need to be careful.
Yeah.
Get a lot of people saying, well, "I wish you would just paint." And I have one lady that told me that she turned the volume down when we paint because she can't stand us talking. So I know most people aren't like that, but I do want to be conscious of it, and I'm doing it again. So adding little bits of the Unbleached Titanium mixed with this purple just to kind of soften it up and make it look like it's kind of part of what's happening here.
Okay, somebody wants to know what color your nails are.
Oh, I have no idea.
Okay, I'll go look.
I think I put it back in the bottle.
Yeah, but I think you left it out in the living room.
Did I?
Oh, well.
Cadmium Orange here. We'll add a little bit of those orange pops of orange here. Kind of covering up a lot of this background yellow, so I want to pull some of that back in. Let me grab some white and yellow oxide. It's kind of mixed with some of that yellow that's in there. And we'll put some of that back in over the top. really I want it to be dark enough for our white flowers, you know, to show up. So really don't want to have it too bright back here where the two are going to be also. So keep that in mind. Don't. Right. Just want it to look like there's all these interesting things happening in this background, but we can't quite see what they are. That's the idea. Just keeping it soft and blendy. Okay, I'm going to add some green to this color. Yeah, that's pretty. Add some of this. A couple places. Wisp this color up and around. Okay, and I've kind of lost all my teal, so I want to grab some of that again. And really, this is just kind of a matter of layering until you're happy with it. So really, at any point that you like it and like, okay, I think that's good, just stop. You don't have to keep on going like I am. Just kind of do as much or as little as you want on this. All right, I think that's pretty good. I'm kind of happy with that. Looks like grass is down here, but you don't really see anything in particular. And most of this can be covered up, so I might bring the darker color a little bit farther up into that sun. Because remember, I'm combining paintings here, so the original didn't have the sun in it at all. It was just green background for my thing. So I don't want to make this too light up here. So I've got grabbed a little bit of the Cadmium Red Light and mixed it with my white colors. There we go, darkening that up a little bit. Let's grab a little bit more of that yellow, some white, and go back over. Okay. Honestly, I might not want the sunburst thing on mine at all. I might decide that I want the whole thing to be this darker color. I really probably didn't need that red at all because I really didn't use it very much in here. So maybe let's use a little bit more of that before we finish this background. Get my color out of my brush there. I can get it cleaned. My paint water is completely gray now, so I might have to have you clean it for me, hon. Yeah, just because I'm going to be using white later, I want to keep it fresh. Clean, if you don't mind. Alright, adding the Unbleached Titanium to the red here. Let's add a little bit of red in this area. I'm going to grab some of that blending medium. And I think I am going to bring it up a little bit higher than I had. a little bit of that cadmium cadmium red light. We'll give it a little bit more orangey color. And just add little pops of that color in a couple places. And then grab some of that white with the yellow and blend that in. This can be very therapeutic, really. Honestly, could do a whole canvas like this. Like I said, it's very pretty, very soft. Okay, I like that. Grab a little bit brighter yellow, a little bit of orange mixed together. Kind of a golden color here. We'll add little pops of that. Okay, we're pretty good. Thank you, honey. All right. I think that's pretty good. Let me grab a little bit of this color, mix a little bit of the green in, put a little bit of this really bright yellow-green down here. Okay. Just want to make sure that we got it kind of pretty much where we want it before we start our foreground elements, because it'll be harder to paint around them later. So I think I'm pretty happy with that. So let's figure out where we want our two dandelions to go. I think I'm going to make them fairly large, so we'll do one up here, kind of off center, one right in here, right in there. It's not coming off. I don't want to press too hard because it's, so we'll do one right up in here. So we'll make this into a stem right here. This could be leading to our grab a little bit of burnt umber, mix that with the Quinacridone Magenta. Add a little bit of Unbleached Titanium just to make it a little bit more opaque. There we go. Do that there, and then let's do one, like I said, kind of right low. We'll have it kind of facing out this way. All right. Good, and then I'm going to use this color in the center, and I'm just going to kind of create a little center for where the stem actually attaches. So actually I want to bring that all the way up into the center of the flower. It'll be covered, but we'll still see a little bit of it underneath. There we go. Right, and grab a little bit more of that burnt umber, maybe a little bit of purple. And I'm going to add a little bit of nice dark color right in here. Really dark and kind of a circle, but I'm just sort of tapping it on. So And then this one, a little bit more of it's showing. So these are kind of hanging down. And there is this, I'll grab some green and white here. There is a center right in here. It's going to look really weird at first, so just kind of know that that's sort of normal. Just kind of, it's going to be weird. All right, let's do this. Let's try to think of what brush I want to use. Let's use a small brush. Actually, I want to use, let's use this one. This is my number 2 bright. Grab a little bit of green, a little bit of yellow, and some white. And we will put that on top right here. That little area. Let me grab some of the Unbleached Titanium there. I'm trying to find a clean spot on my palette. It's pretty messed up at this point. So just kind of grabbing some of that. I still have that green on there, but I'm just trying to make it a little bit more neutral. It's actually picking up some of that red color, which is perfectly fine. And I'm going to create just a few little spots that kind of radiate out from the center. So just a few little lines. I don't have to be super detailed with these, but you'll be able to see just a few kind of poking out from the center. So I do want to do just a few. Pressing my brush nice and flat so that I can get a thin line on it. There we go. And hopefully this is going to be dark enough behind my flower. If it's not, we can always tap in a little bit darker color. But I'm kind of trying to create this sort of starburst effect here. Okay. It's starting to take shape a little bit. So then down here we're going to do the same thing. Going over that really dark color. Now you can see how we kneaded it, so we can see these little lines showing up. And there's some kind of poking around this front side too. All right. And then I sort of tested a few things, a few different brushes, and I found that my favorite one to create these little starburst things that are happening on the Dandelion was like a stiff bristled, very small, if you can find one, hog hair brush. Now I was able to do it with all of these brushes. So really any of these that you have, this is another like squared off hog hair. This is a Rake, and this one's a Deerfoot Stippler, and I just put a little tiny bit of paint there. The fan brush I found a little bit difficult to use because it was a little bit too big. Actually, well, we'll do splattering later. I do remind me to do splattering because I forgot to do that already. And I'm going to use a fluid acrylic. It'll be a little bit easier to control. Can you see that? Yeah, you can. Oh, no, you can't. It's too far off my palette. push it. There we go. And I want just a tiny bit of paint on my brush. And if you're using, like I said, you know, the Deerfoot Stippler or something, you can grab just a little teeny tiny bit on the corner. And we're going to create a dot. You could even use something and put the paint down. And then I'm going to pull from that center dot out to create a little starburst. So this one I'm going to kind of tap down and pull like that. And just keep on continuing that. Tap a little fresh paint on there and pull out from that center.
So what if people don't have brushes? Where could they go get some?
There is a list down in the description of the Brush Guy's website. I've got a recommended brush list on there. This particular brush that I'm using right now is not on it though. So sorry about that.
That was really bad timing on my part.
Yeah.
So Brush Guy's link, 5% off.
Yes, you get 5% off.
With the code AngelaFineArt, all one word.
Yep. Here we go. Now these ones that are a little bit farther off to the side are not going to come straight. We're not going to see the whole thing, so we're going to actually see parts of it. Actually, I think I'm going to tap that off. It's a little bit too dark. So these ones, as we get out from the center, we're actually going to kind of just be pulling outwards. We're not going to actually see the centers of them. If that makes sense. So these ones, do a couple more that are fully facing us and then start kind of pulling out this way. We probably need a couple of coats on this to get it where we want it to be. It's pretty... So you could also just stipple if you wanted to. If you don't want to have to do all of the work of doing these little tiny brush strokes, you could just tap to create these little fuzzy effects too. So that's another option of doing it a little bit easier. In fact, I'm going to do it over the top of some of these just to kind of add a little bit more brighter detail.
We had a request for some zoomed in side cam action,
That's
so
awesome. Do it.
it's there.
I like it. What?
Are you watching yourself paint?
I am. I do that a lot, actually. It kind of helps me see what it looks like for them, what they're seeing. Make sure I'm keeping my hand out of the way and all that good stuff. Okay, so just kind of creating a circle here. It's not kind of a perfect circle. It's a little bit flat on the bottom slightly. I'm going to go a little bit higher over here because it's a little bit flat up here. The key to this is just not having too much paint on your brush at one time. Just kind of being patient and letting the process happen, because it can be a little bit frustrating when it doesn't look good immediately. It's going to take a little bit of work. So I'm going to just grab some of the bright color and just tap now. And tap some bright highlights in here. Some places.
So we have a question. Person asked, how do you train your hand to not be on the canvas while you're painting so you're not smudging everywhere?
You can use your fist and kind of set your fist up on it. I'm resting my forearm on the table here. You don't see it. It's outside, so I'm not holding it up all the time. You know, sometimes I am, but... And I do rest my hand on the canvas sometimes, too, because I always am getting paint on myself, which I've been very clean today, for the most part, which is surprising. Given the messy nature of our background. I feel like I wish these were a little bit bigger. I don't know how they ended up a little bit small, but well, too late now.
If you zoom in enough, they're really big.
Okay.
Just saying.
Good point.
And what brush are you using to do all this?
This is a hog bristle brush, like a very small one. I'm going to go ahead and just kind of do some small ones that are up and around. This one's actually lost some of its ones already. We're going to put some in the wind over here, flying away. So we just do a few that are kind of up.
So have you ever picked one of those to blow all the seeds off of it and then get it too close to your mouth when you breathe in?
No, I haven't. Have
suck
you?
them all? Maybe.
No, I cannot say that I have. That doesn't sound pleasant.
I'm just asking for a friend.
Really? Well, I have made a wish with them, though. I don't know that it came through. I can't remember what the wishes were, but... just fuzzy. And the key too is just not pressing down too hard so that you're not creating too much of a solid line. You want to be able to see some of that background through it still. We're going fairly realistic. These are still pretty stylized, so they're not like ultra realistic, but I wanted to keep it fairly simple so it was kind of more accessible. I think this is definitely doable. Just notice that as I'm doing them up this way, I'm pointing all of them towards the center. So it's kind of like a bike spoke, if you think about it that way. You know, a wheel. So you're going to point your little, what are these called? Seed pods? The little fuzzy things away from the center. So as I go out this way, I'm going to pull this way, and just as I move my brush around the circle, I'm changing direction. So let's tap in some brighter color in just a couple places. Tap and creates those kind of centers of our clusters. And if you do too much or you get it too dark, you can always kind of tap it off with your finger, kind of softly blend it out so that it's not as in your face bright. That's, you might want to do that too every now and then. Okay, there we go. And then let's do some kind of out here that are sort of falling around our dandelions. So maybe pointing upward. It's too big. Okay. Too big. I'm off camera, honey.
Why?
Somebody's not paying attention. Me.
That'd be you. Yeah.
Both.
Okay. I'm answering questions here.
Okay. Well, you're a camera guy.
Oh.
So I went there.
Is that what my job is? Dang it.
Part of it. You're I don't want your job. You got our job. You got all the fun stuff. Gotta keep up with chat and help me and talk. Read. There's a lot of reading too, and I know how much you like to read.
Reading is not my favorite.
All right, I'm going to use this and just, let me see. Okay, grab that smaller number 2, and I'm going to use some white, a little bit of yellow oxide. Wipe most of it off on a paper towel, and then I'm going to use it on my stem here, kind of right down the middle. I'm just going to add a little bit of a highlight to soften that up a little bit. All right. Every now and then spray your palette while you're working. That'll help to keep your paints moist.
With vodka.
Okay, gonna grab some of that green, and I'm going to tap in a little bit of more green right there in the center. And I think I want a little bit of green in this one too, so I'm just gonna tap in a little bit of green with the corner of my brush to add a little bit of that color in there. And then this is fairly dry, so I'm going to, I think I want to kind of shade one side of it. So I'm going to use a little bit of Phthalo blue in my glazing liquid, and we'll see how this works. I don't know. I've got it in my head. It may not work, but we'll just try it. All it can do is ruin our painting, right? No, just joking. What could go wrong? It's only live, you know. Nobody's watching, right? Okay, so I'm just going to tap in a little bit of this glazed. Okay, there we go. Yep, that's working. Just giving it a little bit of a shadow on one side there. Kind of on the underside, away from the sun. Give it extra little dimension. There we go. It's pretty. Blue is a really good color to shade with white because it's in a lot of whites and it's a cool color, blue is, so it's just a natural choice to use. Okay, so I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to go back over with some more white. But before I do that, while I've got this out here, I'm going to grab some of that white, press my brush nice and flat, and I'm going to make some little centers for these. Just sort of flick my brush out. Try not to press too hard down. You're just kind of keeping your brush just perpendicular, letting that flat edge do the work for you.
Can you move that to the side so I can zoom in?
Yeah. Right there, because I've only got a few left right here. Okay. Set it down right where those kind of come together right there. Set it flat and just kind of pull and lift. So like that. Then we just want a little bit of a center on all of these. And you can kind of reinforce the darkness if you need to on the centers where they attach. Add a little bit more detail if you need to. They're kind of cone shaped, or they're sort of flat. If you notice, I'm only kind of pulling from one side. So these little seed pods are not going to be, you know, look like this, the full center. You're only seeing the side of it. At least on these, we are. Grabbing some more white here. And I'm just going to create some dots in the centers of some of these clusters. Really reinforce the details a little bit. Just kind of trying to pick where the starbursts are coming together or starting from, and kind of dotting there, if that makes sense. Like, so some of these are more obvious than others, but just, if it's not obvious, just pick a spot to create a little dot. Hope you guys try this. I hope I'm not making it too complicated. Really, you can stop at any point that you're happy with it. So I'm just going to keep it on going. You could stop it before you did the shading if that, you know, is too much detail. Just, it's your painting. So you do as much as you feel like you want to. Take it to as detailed as you want. I'm going to keep on going here and just add a little bit more details to them before we stop. Keep on giving it that kind of fuzzy look. Use that edge of the brush to kind of pull some lines. I'm liking it so far, I think. It's looking good. I like the blue. I definitely like the shadow in there. It needed something. It was just looking a little too flat to me. Plus it ties in the background here. It's always good to tie and unify your paintings. Kind of putting some unusual color in different places where you might not expect it. I think those little details are what brings your painting to a little bit more professional looking level. Although, like I said before, there's all kinds of different styles of painting, so it makes it look a little bit more realistic, I should say, or a little bit more detailed, I guess. All right, adding little dots of white, just using that corner of my brush. I really like using the corner of a flat brush to do dots too, because they don't turn out to be perfectly round, and so somehow they're just a little bit more interesting, and you avoid that kind of uniformity that you really want to avoid when you're painting nature, because uniformity kind of kills the effect of realism. If it looks too perfect, it doesn't look as real, if that makes sense. So if I get it too bright, I'm just going to tap it off with my finger there. I can also kind of use the paper towel, but that actually blended it out just fine for me. Okay. Pretty happy with that. So now, okay, I'm definitely making a mess now. This is good. I spoke too soon. Alright, I'm going to grab that burnt sienna. I grabbed a little bit of burnt umber just to darken it up just a little bit, but I want it mostly burnt sienna. And I'm going to put in, actually I'm going to grab a little bit of the white too, and press it flat, and then I'm going to turn my brush over and pull it through that darker paint so that I have the darker and the lighter color on opposite sides of my brush. And then I'm going to set it down, and it'll have an automatic highlight on these little seed pods. I'm just setting it down and kind of doing what I did with the stems, only I'm kind of setting it down, just kind of lifting. So pressing it down a little bit to create these little ends of my seed pods. Just like that. Cute. Okay, pull through, flip it over, pulse through the lighter color. And then I'm going to add a little bit of these to my center of my flower here. There's some that are exposed and showing, so I'm just going to add a few of those in here. And I don't love that, so I'm going to tap back over a little bit. Add a little bit of yellow oxide, maybe. Try some yellow oxide and white. Tap a little bit of that in. There we go. In the center of that one. Just kind of soften that up. Let's put a little bit of this yellow oxide in this one too. Just tap in a little bit, a few little dots of it here and there. Okay. Now I want to take my fan brush, if I can find it. What do I do with it? Oh, there it is. Okay. You can zoom out a little bit, huh? You can see the whole thing. There we go. Okay. I'm going to grab that white and make a puddle. Should be like a milk consistency. If you have it too thick, it won't come off your brush. And it should, if it's too wet, it'll be kind of transparent. So you want it sort of just, and you can test it on your palette there and see. I'm gonna really splatter right around the dandelions real close, and then kind of let some of it splash down here too, but real lot of it right around the dandelions. Get a little bit more. Okay. What do you think? Not bad. It's only an hour.
It's
wow.
pretty cool.
We did that pretty quick.
We need some stick man.
Okay, we'll give him a dandelion.
10-4, good buddy.
Outside. I might do some more. I think I'm going to splatter some more colors down in here.
Yeah, we definitely need more splatters.
We do. We do. So this is what I always have trouble with him, because he's on white background. We need to start putting him on like a colored background so that I can do some of this stuff. So we'll just put some grass by his feet here. And
maybe a dandelion before it's fuzzed out.
Some yellow. Okay, we'll do some yellow dandelions. There we go. All right, he's in his little dandelion field there.
Hey, if you've just joined us,
galaxy.
First time ever, you go, what the heck is this?
I know. It's pretty much
we forget to explain
probably what
that
they're
now.
thinking exactly. Yeah. It's probably exactly what they're thinking. This is our little bit of fun. Mark drew the stickman, and we started this like I don't know.
A year and a half
we've done
ago.
5 of these now, maybe something like that.
Yeah.
But he's just our little bit of whimsy.
And the Patreon people get stick woman.
We add something to him every show, depending on whatever we're working on that at the moment. So, all right, let's grab some of these Quinacridone Magenta.
And yes, to the people in chat, I can do stickman on a color background.
Yeah, you can.
Yes.
You're all right with that.
I'm professional enough.
You can. Okay, good. All right, so making this kind of soupy pink color. Ooh, that's pretty. Yeah, that's nice. Add some of that down here. I like splatters. I do splatters almost every painting, I swear. Y'all should be experts in splatters if you've been following along with my paintings by now. I just love it. It kind of creates this sort of dreamy quality that you just can't get otherwise. I just really like it, obviously, but you can leave it off if you don't. So I don't know why you wouldn't, though. It's awesome. And it's really fun. So let's do some teal ones, too. And then maybe some yellow, and then we'll be done. Okay.
I can see Van Gogh and Monet just going to town with splatters.
I think they did splatter. I don't know.
Probably.
If they didn't, they were missing out.
Yes, this is the early splatter movement. You can see the emotion.
Yep. All right, got some yellow here. Oh, that's nice. I'm getting it on myself too, and I forgot to put my apron on, so.
Nice.
This is my painting shirt, but my blanket's probably getting paint on it. I'm going to put my blanket on my feet today because the studio was cold.
Oh, I just switched over. You're done.
All right, there we go. Now we got all kinds of fun splattery things happening.
We're going to full-size
dandelion garden. Fun. We probably could have added one more to it since we did them so small, but I think... Cause normally I like to do things in 3s, but I think it's okay. We'll just call it good. All right, guys. Thanks so much for watching today. This was a short one for a Saturday.
You going to sign it?
Yeah. Well, I need to wait for the paint
okay.
to dry, but I will sign it, yes, before I post it. I'll be posting this on Patreon, and if you want a link to that, it's down in the description and up in the iCards. Have traceables on there, and we do a bonus video. We're going to be doing our bonus video for January here in a couple weeks. If you want to have a chance for your dog to be painted, you can go on my Facebook page and add your dog to my growing list. We're going to do a Year of the Dog painting.
This is image painted. We're not going to actually paint your dog.
No, we're not going to. No,
so,
exactly. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
We're not going to go there. My
Thankful Art group on Facebook. Link is also down in the description. Or you can just look up Thankful Art on Facebook. It'll pop it right up, I'm sure. But anyhow, anything else we need to say? We'll be back on Tuesday night. Give it a little thumbs up. Yeah, if you like this and want to see more like this, give it a thumbs up. Let me know. It also lets YouTube know that you like my videos, and it'll suggest them more often. So that's nice for me too. So hope you'll do that and leave a comment. Let me know what you liked about it. And we'll be back on Tuesday night. Thanks so much, and we'll see you next time. Bye.